30 years ago, Blur, in their song Park Life, said, you should cut down on your pork life, mate. Get some exercise. Okay, so you go to the gym, you start to get fit. Maybe you try a sport, cycling, tennis, maybe CrossFit. Time goes by, and then you discover that you're getting good. Very good. So much so, now Olympic standard is very much on the horizon. Well, which sport are we talking about? Fencing. Who are we talking about? Liz Jones. So how did all this come about? Let's find out. Liz, how you doing?
I still find that funny. I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, yeah. Do you know what? I cannot believe I've known you 10 years and it's only in the last few weeks I found out about this entire fencing career. Because, like, my first meeting of you was in Cardiff when you were a PT at, was it Lifestyle? I think it was called at the time, or Fitness First. Yeah,
Lifestyle.
yeah.
I took over. Oh, I started just before the as the refurb was going.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it was during the name change, wasn't it? From Fitness First to Lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember all that. So, yeah, for me, it's like you've kept this part of your life very, very quiet. And I'm just like, I want to hear more about it as soon as I heard little
My
snippets.
teenage years.
Yeah. So,
So the fencing years.
yeah. I mean, what was this? How do you even get into fencing? I'm trying to work this one out because this is total different to my type of sports, you know?
Well, I was very fortunate. Okay, I went to the girls' grammar school, so I've always been into sports. Sports being
Right.
my thing,
Okay.
right? As in, like, didn't like studying. Option to play a sport, I would go and do it,
Right.
right? Even like as a teen, I did cross country and I hated it, but I still chose to go out and do it for some reason.
Right.
Um, but then I got into secondary school, I said the grammar school, and the coach came over from the boys' grammar and said, would you like to try this basically and do a taster session? So we all jumped in this taster session. And because I didn't really like netball, I had, kind of got cut from the team sort of thing. Kind of
Right.
was like, well, I'm not really vibing this kind of
Yeah.
thing. I was like, well, let's try. So obviously used to go at lunchtime, and this was like a lunchtime class.
Mm.
And then of course it slowly numbers went down. He was like, well, if you want to keep training, you have to come over to the boys' grammar in the evening, so after school. So it became the after school club.
Right.
Um, but of course, so I started when I was about 11.
Okay.
So obviously started just being like the after school club, maybe like first off lunchtime, then the after school club. Then by the age of 13, I became part of the first women's sabre team.
Right.
So senior level, because basically there were six weapons overall, men and women at the three weapons,
Yeah.
but sabre was still mixed. In when I was turned 13, it became the first time they allowed women saber as a recognized adult sort of weapon. So it
Right.
wasn't mixed saber, it became men's and women's saber.
Okay.
Um, so of course at the age of 13, I became part of the first team. I got my full British colours. And of course it just grew from there. So we obviously went into national, international competitions, qualified for the Commonwealth, a couple of world championships, and of course the final world championships we qualified for the Olympics as a team.
Oh my goodness me.
So yeah.
That is an awful lot that you've done at a very, I mean, how old were you during this time frame? What was, I mean,
I was 13, 11 when I started, 13
right,
when I got my full colours. So
right.
it's sort of roughly sort of the 18 months, 2 years of
Wow.
training. Then I went to the last world championship, no, the last world championships when I was 16.
Yeah.
So of course, in case of as well, one of the stipulations was when you're training to stay part of the team is you have to get good grades. So we had to do our study, we had to keep our
Yeah.
grades up. I mean, it wasn't a case of you had to be a star student, you just had to get good grades, you had to
Right.
do schoolwork, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was the case of the peak sort of was roughly when I was about 14, 15, 16. And
Right.
then after that, it got to the point of going, hang on a second, going into A levels, kind of moved off it a little bit, shall we
Yeah.
say, because it was just a case of I've done so much. Like when you qualify for the Worlds, it was 6 a.m. training 5 days a week before school for
Thinking,
6 weeks.
yeah.
It was evenings 2 or 3 nights a week. It was weekend training and competitions.
Yeah.
Um, you
That's
got used to
intense.
saying no to even just going to cinema. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, suppose, I mean, okay, were you finding in that situation that your mates were doing stuff and you basically say, I can't, I've got training? Was it
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
type of thing?
There was, I mean, obviously I had fencing friends and it was
Yeah,
great to see them and stuff like this. But of course, it gets to that age of going, hang on a second, I want to do something a little differently. And of
yeah,
course, going to uni, workload, not uni, sixth form, and then of
mm,
course onto uni,
yeah,
workloads changed. So I didn't sort of quit until I was sort of in uni, but I
right,
kind of just backed off it and went sort of like just doing it more hobby.
yeah,
But then I found the challenge because the thing about doing top level sport is putting your sort of heart and soul into it, doing a lot. Some of it was my mum kicking me out of bed in the mornings. I'm not going
yeah,
to lie, I was a teenager.
yeah.
Um,
You're not going to like that.
but no,
No.
but then, and of course, sometimes you have to be somewhere at 6 a.m. or you'll be
Mm,
somewhere at 5 a.m. And,
yeah,
to get up, you got to be up by 4 or,
yeah,
it's. But then, of course, as I got older, it was like a case of, okay, well, to keep going, I've got to keep going at this. And it was like I felt kind of like I wanted to be a teenager. I wanted to sort
yeah,
of do other stuff.
yeah.
I'm not gonna,
That's understandable.
once
Yeah,
yeah. And so I kind of put into hobby mode. And of course I then struggled putting it into hobby mode because I'd done such top level.
yeah.
I didn't like going in and not being great or not,
Yeah,
doing my best.
I suppose for you, you got used to excelling at an incredible, well, at international level. Most
Yeah.
people aren't used to that type of experience. I mean, God, I'm trying to think, what was I doing at that age? I used to mess around on the basketball court with my brother. That was about it. No
You
sporting
see,
background whatsoever.
so when I became 19, 20 at uni,
Yeah,
that became my sport. So that mess
right.
around that people had, because also when
Yeah.
I'm doing the fencing as a team,
Mm,
I also played a sport at school.
right.
So I got selected with the local hockey club as well to play
Mm.
as their third, reserve for seconds. I was a goalkeeper. So I was actually selected for the local team.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I had to turn around and say, I can't do everything.
Yeah.
When it came to sports at school, like we had squash, we did tennis, we did obviously basketball, we did all different sports.
Yeah.
Like when we had the squash league, I would beat everybody. So nobody wanted to play me because I would win.
Right.
but but that was my thing, you see.
Yeah.
So I was always better at this. And
Yeah.
of course, I started going to the gym at the age of 15 and working
Right.
out and things like that. So for me as a teen, sports and everything was very much a central part of my life, and I didn't know
Yeah.
what else there was. So when it
Mm,
became uni, going and playing hockey with the campus team and then going to the pub was
yeah.
like, oh my God, this is great. What is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. Whole new world. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it was kind of for a while there. It was like you as a teenager, you experimenting, finding what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't really commit to anything. Like I
Mm,
didn't, obviously played hockey for the campus team,
yeah.
but I didn't really go to the gym regularly. I wasn't really doing anything.
Right.
And in some ways, it's that case of like you're finding yourself, finding what you want to do. But then I moved also a few times, and then I moved obviously because at uni,
Yeah.
and then I bought my first house at 20. So of course it was that sort of dedication, this buying, this moving, and of course so I threw my dedication into something else.
Yeah. So really,
Um,
that mindset, isn't it? You
yeah,
were ingrained of like trained to Olympic level. You've got to be single-minded focus, and you just channeled that focus into something else. And
yeah,
yeah,
and of course kind of a bit going along with my parents saying this is the good thing,
mm,
because I'm still an adolescent,
yeah,
right? Um, and of course, looking at it, I'm going, okay, it's channeling that drive and just going, okay, this
mm,
is a great thing. But
yeah,
also when I got it, I kind of just went, oh, I don't really see this as amazing,
mm,
right? Because it was just a case of all I was doing was focusing on the energy. I still felt like I wanted to do something. I
yeah.
wanted, um, and obviously I'm going to lead you really on to like the next bit, because then of
That's
course
fine.
it
Yeah,
was obviously I did, like, obviously like we do, get another job. I worked
yeah,
for company that dealt with military shelters for the
yeah,
military in the UK and worldwide, and civil service.
yeah,
And I was like, well, what am I doing here? Okay, I was headhunted for my job,
yeah,
but I was like, I've just trained in leisure. I did a sports degree. Let's go
yeah,
back into leisure.
yeah,
2 years at the leisure centre was like, I'm not happy on the reception. I want to go in the gym. I want to do something
mm,
else. And then one day I sat on a park bench, and this is not a false story. This is
okay,
very much how it happened.
all right,
I sat on a bench in town and went, I need to do something. I am bored. I'm not challenged. I this isn't the career I want. I don't want to be a receptionist.
mm,
And then I looked up and I saw the sign of the army office. Picked up my phone, called my ex-boss at this thing, who's obviously an ex-army major.
right,
I went, hi, I'm about to walk into the army office. Because I think you'll be great. I went, okay, I'll keep you updated. Goodbye.
Yeah.
The conversation was literally about 2-3 minutes. It wasn't a very
Yeah.
long thing. And I just walked into the army office and I went, okay, I'm here to join the army.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing. It was just like, I don't know. I just sat on the bench and thought this would be a great
Yeah.
idea. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Um, so of course it went, okay, we'll have an interview with the brigadier, the local, because of your background, you've got a degree, you've got all this. Probably good for you to go as an officer. I was like, okay, let's do this. At this point, I'm what, 25, 25, I think.
Right.
So again, it's a case of I'm going, okay, right, let's go. And my attitude was, well, if it's meant to be, I'll go in. If I'm not meant to be, then I'll fail.
Yeah.
Which I will touch back on later because
Okay.
there is something not quite aligned with that mindset, which I've now learned being a little older and doing what I do now.
Yeah.
But basically, the August I had my interview with the brigadier.
Right.
In November, I had a meeting with, I want to say RLC. Yeah, RLC. So the logistics corps. So basically, you have to get sponsorship from a corps. So I went to RLC and I got sponsorship. And so they offered to sponsor me to go to Santos. I was like, cool.
Right.
I then did my briefing and I went, a briefing's a 1-day assessment, passed my briefing, Cat 1. So which means straight to main board.
Nice.
Okay. So I was like, okay, no, it's a pass or fail. So I passed that one. But then when I got to main board, I got a Cat 1, which is you're ready to go straight in.
Right.
Like, okay, cool. Went to see the signals. Again, I got a second sponsorship. So I had the brigadier offering to sponsor me. I had 2 corps sponsoring me. And I got a pass and a Cat 1 both times. Bear in mind, I hadn't run it until I got to doing a sports relief challenge at the end of July. Was the first time I had run in years. It was a member of the gym team went, come and do this, got me to run a K on the treadmill. I nearly died.
Right.
And then of course, when I'm sat on the bench thinking about it, I'm like, this would be a great idea.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's your run time? I went, I don't know, I'll start running.
Yeah. Right.
So in the August, I start running.
Yeah.
In the November, I passed my briefing and get the first sponsorship. In the January, I passed my main board and get my second sponsorship.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, or maybe the February. And they were like, okay, you're going in September. I was like, okay, cool. Next thing you know, I get a second letter. We're going to put you in April.
And what?
I was going in April.
Oh, April. Sorry. Yeah.
So the 6th of April, I was on the parade square at Santos. So from August to April was the entire time I got ready to get into the military.
That's fast.
So you can see why I say there's a sort of thing about the shift of mindset as well, because the reason I say that is obviously looking at that's really quick. Obviously, I was training 6 days a week. I had a friend who did Ironman. I had support from the gym team. So like when I was fencing, I had the support structure. I had, good coaches, people who were experienced in that field, right? I spent time and did my research. I was like, okay, it's current affairs. It's all this, taking advice from people of what to read and, everything like that.
Yeah.
So of course I got myself ready, right, to attend this meeting and be fit. And of course, the one thing they did raise was a question about my fitness not quite being, where they thought it was with someone with a sports background.
Yeah.
But I was there going, I kind of taken fitness on a leisurely side for the last few years.
Yeah.
Because I needed that push. And of course, joining the military, there's my push.
I was just thinking that's the incentive, isn't it? That's the motivation. Yeah.
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 So, of course, obviously joining Sanders, it was that spur of the moment decision. But like I said, that mindset thing was because although it was also quick, it was also some of that limiting belief is sort of like what you carry with you.
Yeah.
It's like, or if it wasn't meant to be, I wouldn't have got there.
Yeah.
And this is one thing I teach with and work with people now is because you look at limiting beliefs and performance mindsets, you need the two to align to really get the great results.
Yeah.
There are certain things that will obviously happen. I mean, I got injured. I've actually got a flat spine from the training. So I've got no coaches to my back, which is why I ended up leaving.
Right.
But I left out of choice because I went, okay, I've got something I've got to look after for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I haven't slipped a disc. I'm not paralyzed. I haven't done anything that is really detrimental to my health or my future.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing. It was like, well, can I imagine, say, not being able to pick up, like my goddaughter now, if I couldn't
Yeah.
pick her up, things like that. I was like, I
Mm.
can't. But yeah, that mindset of that alignment sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then if I look back then again about my fencing, when I lost at the World Champ, and I say lost for a reason,
Mm.
because the fight she may have won. Okay, when it came down to it, I was 32, she was number 33.
Right.
Okay, may have been a fight that went either way. It was
Yeah.
one of those fights.
Okay.
But I lost it because I went so narrow internal focused
Mm.
that my body wasn't doing anything but autopilot. I had no sight or control over anything else.
Yeah.
But my mind wasn't aligned with my body in the end results. It's the same thing when I was saying, I was just like, it's going to happen. If I got into complete alignment, then I
Mm.
may have been fitter. I may have been
Yeah.
stronger. I may have been more focused. I was kind of holding myself back a little bit, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. It's sort of how can I we get it in rowing where sometimes you're just going through the motions rather than really
Yeah.
being
So although I was
100%.
getting fitter, I was
Yeah.
getting stronger, and
Yeah.
I passed the test. I got to Sandhurst. That is
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
hell of an achievement,
I know. Yeah.
right? And like I got to the Olympics, or
Yeah.
qualified, with the
Yeah.
team in the World Champ.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a result.
Yeah.
But then when I sit here now and I go, I'm not doing this to criticize myself and push it
Mm.
down. Whereas for years, you see, I did, which is
Mm.
why I probably didn't mention when we first talked, because I kind of was like, I let myself down.
Right.
And then over the, like I said, so the guys who are listening, if you don't know what I do, I'm a
Yeah.
well-being coach, and I particularly help with daily habits, mindset, and of course finding that state of calmness within. So a lot of yoga, meditations,
Yeah.
and some of this, what I've learned was that ability to self-reflect and be that little bit vulnerable. Go, okay, where was I not letting myself down? Where was I out of alignment?
Right.
Where was I thinking this is where I want to be, but my thoughts not sitting with me?
Yeah.
Which obviously from rowing and obviously the things you've done, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the amount of races where I can look back and think, yeah, if I'd had a different approach in that race, I would have had a better result.
Mm.
Some races where I was absolutely, you can be as fit as you want. If your mind's not in the right place, it's still not
Yeah.
going to get you the
Yeah.
results you want. I've had a few of those. Yeah,
Or you'll get the silver, not the gold, or
that's it. Yeah.
this sorts of stuff. And it's a case of, obviously then of course, or a challenge becomes a bigger challenge,
Mm.
or you suddenly find there's something else that you can't quite overcome. And
Yeah.
and of course, obviously, like I did Sandhurst, went through it, and like I said, I developed the flat back.
Yeah.
Basically, I got to final attack, final exercise, and then I got back termed because they said I wasn't ready.
Right.
And fair enough. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then I had the difficult job of saying, what do I do? What's my thing? And then obviously went out, found what was going on.
Yeah.
At the time, my L1 and L2 had fused. My T4 was out of line. My C7 was out
Ooh.
of line. So I've got resolved. I've got
Yeah.
things moving, and I
Yeah.
know exactly, and I take care of myself on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But I also had the wake up and the sit down, the hard conversation of going, okay, so this is where you're now.
Mm.
You've got two routes. You can go back, which could go really well,
Mm.
or you can make this worse.
Yeah.
And I've got one spine.
That's true. Yeah.
I was like, if you damage your spine, say I pass my commissioning course,
Yeah.
then I get to my YOs, my young officers, and I get through and I get deployed because at this time it was Afghan.
Mm.
I imagine I jump out the back of a four tonner or whatever
Oh,
vehicle, and
yeah.
I land funny. My back goes. I become a casualty for my men.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this.
And then your life is changed like
Yeah.
permanently, completely then, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
So it's
huge.
not just me I'm putting at risk. I went,
Right.
that's the people I'm then serving and I'm looking
Yeah.
after.
So,
And I actually didn't realize how powerful that was until, like I said, again, a bit later when you
mm,
start looking back and you reflect on these things
yeah.
and going, actually, the power of serving others, because that selfless commitment, sometimes the most selfish thing you can do is put yourself where you're going to be
Yeah.
take the risk. Now, some people I know will argue against that. Well, you could have toughened up, you could have done this. And again, it was a case of, okay, yeah, I could have done, but I thought
Mm,
about me,
yeah.
my goals, and where I was sitting and where I
Yeah.
was aligning with.
Yeah.
And that's, a lot of time we do something because we think we should toughen up, or we do something because it's someone else. I've
Mm,
thought about the things I wanted in life,
yeah.
where I wanted to go. And as gutted as I was to have my career cut short,
Yeah.
I knew there was other things I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. So sometimes it's when you're into something, you can sometimes think that's the only thing, but it's only sometimes when you step out of it, then you realize what your other options are and
Yeah.
what you can do. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, when I came out of it, I had
Mm.
that couple of times where I kind of went, okay, went back to work for the company that dealt
Yeah.
with the military kit and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Um, but when I came out of it, I kind of went, okay, what am I going to do? So I had a conversation with mum. Do I go into HR? Because I was good at HR and I set
Right.
up a company with invested in people and
Yeah.
all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Or do I go and follow my passion and do fitness and
Right.
PT and all
Yeah.
this? And my mum went, follow your dreams, follow your heart,
Yeah.
just do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And right, when I was about 5 years old, all I wanted to do was coach and train people and help
Oh,
them.
really? At that age?
That was all I wanted.
Wow. Yeah.
No astronauts, no
Yeah.
scientists.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was coach and train people.
I wanted to
All
be a
I
truck
wanted.
driver when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big red truck.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's all I wanted to do. I was
Yeah.
always sport. It was
Mm.
always my thing.
Right.
And then of course, obviously moving into, fitness, leisure, it
Yeah.
was a case of again, I worked at a private health club,
Yeah.
all this sort of stuff. Moved down to Cardiff thinking I wanted to be more PT. Went
Yeah.
to one side, didn't really work,
Yeah.
moved over, got given management.
Yeah.
So of course, this is how the career then changed. I kept going, I keep getting given management. Okay,
Yeah.
when I came out the military and applied for jobs, they
Yeah.
kept telling me I hadn't got enough management experience, although I'd
Right.
been offered like I was a support manager beforehand and all this sort
Yeah.
of stuff. And I got to army officer training and I completed my training kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm there going, I've had some of the best management leadership training in the
Mm.
world. And you're telling me I haven't got enough experience. Right, okay.
Yeah.
But then if I apply for a grade down, they went,
Mm.
you've got too much experience. So I was
I
stuck in.
was like, how do you explain that one? I mean, it's just, oh,
But this is where we go into like people's perceptions and what people
yeah.
think. And of course,
Mm.
I think we need to, a lot of this, like I said, the mindset thing, the performance mindset and what we're seeing, that
Mm.
tunnel vision,
Yeah.
this applies to all sorts of different things. So yeah, I've got it in the sports context, but this was the prime example of it in the workplace.
Yeah.
People going, well, you're not going to stay because you're this, you're not going to do this. It's like, hang on a
Yeah.
second, right? So of course, then I moved down. I got given management. Of course, I was there going, okay, but I'm a self-employed manager. Firstly, then became an employed role,
Right.
and that's why when I moved off from lifestyle, moved to
Yeah.
London,
Yeah.
it's the case where I took the employed role,
Yeah.
and I deliberately did that. One, I moved 150 miles, so I jumped in the deep
Yeah.
end. Okay.
That's quite a move, Cardiff to London, isn't it? It's
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
And I knew one person. It was good.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was that you knew?
It was my mate John who used to work with me at the military company.
Ah, right.
So
Okay.
he
Yeah.
used to live in London. He was a
Yeah.
BTEC, so whatever. So he was the only person I actually knew in
Do
London.
you know what? That move that you did to London was like me moving to Cardiff because I basically went to Cardiff and that was just a complete reset for me. I think I knew two people really,
Yeah,
but in terms of hanging around, not really. I basically just started from scratch, but it was great.
yeah.
And what
And that was the thing.
you've settled in
I
London.
turn up on the first day, and the boss wasn't even there to open. She told me to open, but she wasn't even there.
Oh right, no pressure.
It was one of those experiences. I mean,
Right.
obviously, I also took over again a very dynamic team, a
Hmm.
team which had been without a manager for 12 months.
Yeah.
These sorts of again, I was jumping into challenge.
Yeah.
I was always throwing myself into challenge and
I was just
defense.
thinking it's. I mean, there's being pushed in the deep end. There's really being pushed in the deep end, and that
Yeah.
kind of sounds like this. Yeah.
So I've done like, because obviously when I went to lifestyle, of
Hmm.
course, there was obviously the takeover from Fitness First
That's
to
right. Yeah.
lifestyle. And
Yeah.
of course, I started halfway through the gym refit. I
Right.
took over as ops manager halfway through. So
Oh
they'd done
right.
the
Okay.
upstairs
Yeah.
and whatever. So when I started, they were started gutting the upstairs, and we were
Right.
still downstairs. Then when I took over as
I remember.
manager, they'd opened upstairs and they were just gutting, and it was just like, okay.
Was that was during the because this is in that 2013 sort of time period, isn't it? That
2014,
oh
yeah.
2014 was that when they kept switching the changing rooms around where the men and women had to keep alternating
Yeah.
rooms. I remember all of that time. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a load of fun.
It was a mess. Yeah.
So I took over as manager
Yeah.
then, which
Yeah.
was again a very interesting time. Then moving to London where I'm taking over with a team that's, not how to, it's
Yeah.
kind of throwing yourself into challenges and
Yeah.
things like this. And of course, obviously I moved from there. I became DGM, deputy,
Yeah.
became general manager. And of course, that's where I am now is because I was like, I want to be with people. I want to
Yeah.
help people because
Yeah.
I don't believe, after all my experience, it's not just fitness, it's not just what you eat, it's
Yeah.
not just whether you go to work. We
Yeah.
need to look at our lifestyle as a whole. And
Mm.
if we're looking for our goals to come to light,
Yeah.
then sometimes it might be a case if you've got to journal it, you're not feeling very well, so you can't physically move. Or sometimes it's just a case of we just need to tell our minds the right thing. So
Yeah.
listening to something.
Yeah.
So that's obviously I was like, I don't want to waste everything I've done, but I felt in the office, I was like, this isn't me. I
Yeah.
need people. I need people.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's
when you
what we have today.
well, I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking. When you think about it, at fencing, you're part of a team, aren't you? So you're used to being in that team environment, aren't
Kind
you?
of. You're individual because you're on the piste on your own.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, a lot of the times you do individual events, and then when you come
Right.
together as a team, you're
Yeah.
still on the piste on your own. So although
Right.
you're helping your team do their
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
it's still like, for example, if you're in a team event, you might be going to what, 15 points, say.
Okay. Yeah.
So they be first one to 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so you put your weakest fencer on first,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Because then they may lose 5-1 or maybe
Right.
5-0.
Yeah.
You then got the next person who's
Mm.
going on, who then they've got to go to 10. So your
Yeah.
opposition may be going only wants 5 points,
Right.
but that person. So you put your people on in strategic manners.
Okay.
So in some ways you're on your own, but
Right.
that's the team effort.
Okay.
But then there's some events where you are on your own. Like when I said I
Yeah.
was at the Worlds, I was
Yeah.
32, she was
Yeah.
33. Obviously, I finished 33 in the world on
Yeah.
that. And I'm like going, I felt so bad.
Yeah.
I literally broke down and cried. But I came 33 in the world at the first women's saber competition.
Exactly. That's good
Serious.
going. Yeah.
I got there. There were
Mm.
people who were dying to get there. I got
Yeah.
a place,
Yeah.
and that's the thing when we talk about all this sports performance,
Mm.
we put undue pressure on ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's our thought processes. Sometimes we have to say, actually, let's put this into perspective.
Yeah.
Step back.
Yeah. No, it's no, because what I've noticed, the few things you've said, like even when you said when you're in the army as well, the thing with the back issues, one of the things you're also thinking about, what if when if I was to jump out of this vehicle, my back goes, what about my team? So all that, so that shows that you instinctively want to think about the others around you. It's not just about your own goals. So hence that
Yeah.
seems to lead quite well to your current job where you're helping people.
But that's also the thing as well, because at the times, there's times where I'm just seeing this, but I'm not really seeing the big picture.
Right.
If that makes any sense. Because again, you're in that moment. I'm
Yeah.
making these
Yeah.
decisions. And of course, the more I've sort of developed. So, for example, I qualified as a PT in 2009, 2010,
Okay.
2010.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
13, over 13 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, with that, I become a PT, obviously different group X, cycle, aqua,
Yeah.
Zumba. I'm massage qualified in 4 different massages. I've done my 200-hour yoga.
Yeah.
I don't take this
No,
lightly.
that's a
This
lot.
is
Yeah.
what I do. And
Yeah.
every day I spend the day developing myself. And of course, for me to always feel authentic,
Mm.
I won't teach something that I don't understand
Yeah.
or I don't see the value to.
Got
So
you.
I was like, I couldn't come from a place where I felt that I was looking at something in the wrong way,
Right.
or I was looking at something with, say, shame, not excitement,
Yeah.
or just instead of just being vulnerable and honest, again, the shame, the downgrading,
Yeah.
or anger, or something.
Yeah.
So even for years, you see, I put my fencing medals away. They were safely in the box. I kept them
Right.
safe,
Yeah.
but I put them safe in the box.
Okay.
They're actually now
Are they
sat
still
down
there?
here.
Oh, you got them, have you?
They're all down here.
Oh, go on.
I've got a lot.
Oh, can I have a look at a couple? I've never seen these, so this is yeah.
One,
All right.
2, ooh, 3. Hang on a second.
Okay.
4, 5.
This sounds like Sesame Street now. We're counting up numbers. Yeah. Oh my goodness me! Wow.
Yeah, I've got more.
Yeah.
What's that one? Oh, that's my army pin.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, another one. And oh,
That last one you just showed, that looks similar to one I got at a rowing event at Manchester. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's the same. Is it like a burgundy sort of velvet case?
yeah.
Yeah, right. That's this. I'll have to show you one of my rowing medals. It's similar to that. I haven't got it here, but yeah.
Oh, I've got more.
Okay.
I've got one in blue as well.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I've just done there's another one of those I dropped. And we have a little shield.
Oh, nice.
We've
Do you
got a
reckon
little.
you'll ever just? Do you reckon you'll ever display these like on a rack or with all the
They're
ribbons
on my
on?
shelf. They're here.
Yeah.
And hang on, I've still got more. I've got my which is third place. So is a little ashtray.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me put that safely over there.
Mm.
And then we've got. He's like. Okay, I've got my Santa. Okay, these are okay, I'll come into those ones.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Third place British Championships.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
No, there's not there. So I think that's all my fencing ones. But yeah,
Right.
I've got just a few. So these ones in boxes are just like the disc with the
Yeah.
little packs. So I've got a few
Yeah.
of these. Oh, that one's got
Well,
a
you got
whole
more in there as well. The ribbons. Yeah.
So yeah, some of like one.
That's it. Because those cases, they're designed that you can sort of turn them on themselves and rest it down, and it stands up, can't it? Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. I know those. Yeah.
So I've got yeah, and of course some of them are just like this, which are
Yeah.
nice because they sit in the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
And then of course some of them I have got like the things on. But
Yeah.
again, I've kept them in because say, for example, this medal's not engraved.
Right.
Engraved on the box.
Yeah.
So at some point, like obviously I may get the ones that aren't engraved, so I know
Yeah.
what they are.
Yeah,
But
do you
then-
find that with some of these medals, it helps if they're engraved because it then reminds you of what the events are? Because I've got some and I'm like, I can't always remember what they were from. So
Yeah,
I need a little pointer.
that's a third place shield. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've got a few of these.
Yeah.
So and like I said, I popped them all on my shelf.
Mm,
Yeah, this one says Watford Sabre 99.
right.
That one's from the 2000. So this was a participation one.
Right.
So this was the 2000 Olympics, not Olympics, Junior and Cadet World Championships in South Bend, Indiana, USA.
Oh, wow. You went out to Indiana for this comp.
Yep.
So how many
That one
countries
was
have you
Indiana,
traveled?
so that was my last
Yeah.
World Championships I did.
Right. Yeah.
So they gave us that. So some of these are local.
Yeah.
Like this one's the British Championships third place.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that one is too. Yeah. So
Yeah.
those two.
Got
One's
you.
99 to 2000s. One's third place 99. So that's supposed to be 98, 99.
Yeah.
Then I think most of these, that's Hereford and Worcester. Yeah, I've got a few.
Wow.
Warwickshire, Cornwall International. So there's an international one. So that's a UK based.
Mm.
Sherwood. Hereford and Worcester. Yeah, the
Right.
Hereford and Worcester ones give you good ones.
Yeah.
This was actually the Army Triathlon.
Oh, okay.
Okay. See, I always forget the stuff I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually this kind of leads me on to like this.
Okay.
lot, right?
All right. Yeah.
When I was in as it pops out. When I was in the army, obviously you get involved in all sorts of different things. So I got my rock leader training qualification and all that as well. And then of course we also did a triathlon and they said if anyone wants to do it, okay. So the modern triathlon is the run, swim, and shoot.
Oh, okay. Different. Okay, yeah.
And of course, so I did it because obviously I did the odd bit of fencing, but it was
Yeah.
épée, and I don't really. I like my saber. It's much quicker. It's much more fun. Épée
Right.
was always my second weapon, but yeah, I'm a saber.
Okay.
So of course, obviously we did. We got involved, and they got me in the team.
Mm.
So of course we became runners up in the 2008.
Oh, nice. That's okay. Out of interest, I got to ask, was James in that competition?
No.
Oh, he wasn't. Oh, right. Okay.
What they tended to do with those is obviously it's people that do the fencing or the modern pentathlon, so people are involved in those side of sports.
Right.
So, like, I think James did maybe skydiving or something. So, if you're involved in the other sports,
that sounds like James. If anyone wonders what we're talking about, we're referring to James Scott, who I met via Total Wipeout because he was the grand champion of Series 2, and actually in his interview. You said skydiving. He just casually jumps out of planes, doesn't he, and just smiles for the camera. Yeah. So yeah.
That's James.
Yeah.
So basically, I went to Sandhurst with him. He was in my company. So yeah.
Right.
And then of course, when I left Sandhurst, I started running, hadn't I? So I started doing like cancer research and trail runs.
Oh, excellent.
Mud runners. And,
right.
Yeah. So this now basically. So guys, here's a bit of a tip for your workspace.
Right.
If you want your workspace to be set for success, have it set for success. So your feng shui of the space, which means I have these. So the participation ones are sitting there all nice and neatly. And
Yeah.
this sits right on my desk. So
Right.
actually I can see it just behind my
Oh,
screen,
excellent. Yeah.
which means that every single time I'm at my desk and I'm thinking about what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
I've got something feeding my brain success.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously I like one, I have to say, I do
Yeah.
like all the colours because it
Yeah.
makes it
Actually, yeah, it's a good bit of decoration. Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I do. And of course, the fact it's also a reminder, it's like every single one of them I've completed.
Yeah.
So even, for example, one of the cancer research, I did the run in like 21 minutes,
Right.
which is for that 3 miler, whatever it is,
Oh, wow.
5K.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
rapid. Yeah. If it's 5K, 21 is pretty rapid. Yeah.
yeah. So that
Oh,
was one of those I did it. It was my quickest run.
yeah.
There's some of it's team events.
Yeah.
Again, I always sit so I can always see that. I've actually got some up there as
Mm.
well, which are
Right.
volunteering ones. And ones
Okay.
though, I did a huge challenge. It's a
Right.
half marathon. I walked it in one day.
Oh, okay. Right.
So it's 58 kilometers. So it's the longest half they do. They do
Oh,
on the 100K
well,
series.
that's more than a half marathon. I mean,
Oh yeah.
half marathon's 21, full marathon's 42, and you did
Oh yeah,
51.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
they do all of them.
Okay.
So
Right.
this I did the half challenge.
Oh,
So
okay. Right.
normally what they do is 100K over 2 days.
Ah,
You
right.
can do it as one half,
Yeah.
second half,
Yeah.
whole thing,
Yeah.
without a break. You can do
Right.
quarter challenges. Okay.
Okay. I see now. Yeah. Yeah.
And I just went, well, it's been COVID. I've had 2 surgeries over the last couple of
Yeah.
years. I was like, I need something.
Mm.
Notice the challenge
Yeah.
with
I'm
all
just
of
thinking. Yeah. You're pushing yourself. Yeah.
And I went, what am I going to do? There's no point me going and do running a 5K. So I was like,
Mm.
I don't want, no offense. I was like, I don't want to run a 5K.
You've done it as well. You need something new, don't you? Something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can say I was like, I want something new.
Mm.
Also, considering the fact I've had 2 surgeries, I've not been running. I was like,
Mm.
let me do something different.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, a walking challenge. Okay, it's going to be great. It's going to
Low
be amazing.
impact is not going to hurt the spine, then, is it?
I walked 58 kilometers,
Yeah.
including the 3 breaks. So the first break,
Mm.
it was literally a case of coming in, go
Right.
to the loo,
Yeah.
have a snack bar, sip of water, off we
Yeah.
go.
Right.
The next one was obviously sit down for lunch, thinking I should have stopped 2 miles ago to take my feet.
Yeah.
So taping the feet.
Oh, yeah.
Then the next bit was out, and oh my God, was up this hill.
That's yeah.
By the
You've got,
time I got into the fourth one, I was
yeah.
like, I sat down the floor. They had sweets. They have snacks and sweets and stuff.
Yeah.
So I had some sweets. I'm sat down. I got some water. I'm just sat on the floor in the shade going, I'm done. The
Yeah.
guy's going, who wants the truck back to the, start, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm there going, oh, I can get the bus. I can get on the bus.
Yeah. Do you find as well that do you find any sort of sugary stuff? If you're doing a really long distance, it starts to lose its effect after a while. That's what I found. It just,
Well, I hadn't had any.
Oh, right, you hadn't.
No, that was the
Oh.
first time I'd had sugary stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, blimey. Okay.
So bear in mind, it's okay. So I did this in May in the Jurassic Coast. Remember that boiling hot weekend that we had?
Which one?
There was clear sky. It was, well, I mean, to be fair, it was like 17 degrees,
Okay.
18 degrees,
Right.
but it was a beautiful, clear blue sky.
Right.
Absolutely picturesque. It's like you
Right.
couldn't have asked for a better, clearer day.
Yeah.
It was so hot, there was virtually no wind.
Right. Okay.
We sweated.
Yeah.
I got sunburn across my shoulder and
Oh,
everything.
no.
I
Yeah.
ended up having like a throw on my shoulder to stop it from catching anymore because I was like, I'm so
Right.
hot. Right.
Yeah.
So it was a case of by the time we got this, we sat in the shade going, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was like so amazing. So amazing.
Yeah.
But a couple of the guys, you see, I met on the first hill.
Mm.
And on the first hill, they were starting running. They said, oh, no, we're with a group, but we're going to run and walk. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, well, come on, let's keep going. So I was pushing them to keep a good walk pace up this big hill, this first big hill. And of course, relatively, it wasn't really that big a hill. It was, kind of small in the grand scheme of things, but it was the first hill. And then, of course, they went, okay, we'll see ya. And I was like, okay, cool. So every break stop, I bumped into them, say hi. Well, except the first one, the second, the third, and fourth. And of course, at the end, one of them said, look, I'm going to run because he wanted to be the first in. So he was like, okay. I was like, okay, bye. And his mate had sore knee. I was like, look, my hips are hurt. It's like all my tendons. It wasn't my muscles. It was my tendons that were
Yeah,
hurting.
it's the soreness that starts to happen on those longer things. Yeah,
But it was like if I stride out, I kind of feel good, but then I fatigue really quickly. And it was like I said, my tendons around my knees and stuff.
yeah.
Because when I used to cross country when I was 10, I tore the cartilage in my knee. So
Ooh,
I know it's a little bit of a
yeah.
tender thing. And I was like, you haven't done anything, and now you've put yourself through it.
Yeah,
58
an
kilometers.
ultra distance like this.
And
Did you find round sort of your hips and everything were getting really so? Because I found the first marathon I did, it was Snowdonia. It was around my hips were just. It was. I wasn't tired. It was just soreness. That was the worst.
it was more
Worst
the
thing.
hip flexors at the
Yeah,
front.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
when I fenced, I had pulled the left one slightly anyway.
Right. Yeah,
So again, it's just a case of for me, my body, I was just
yeah,
like, okay, fair enough.
yeah.
But then one of the guys, his knee was sore. He's got a knee injury, and
Mm,
so he taped it. So two of us were like going back, and every so often I was like, I just got to squat and just
yeah.
ease. Okay, let's go. Literally, I'd count to 10 and then off. Um,
Right.
but including the breaks, the lunch, the everything, I did it in 2 hours, 53 or 58 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
And that's 58 kilometers up and down the Jurassic Coast. If
Yeah.
anyone's been down Durdle Door, it's beautiful. We
Right.
could, like I said, we couldn't have asked for a
Yeah.
more beautiful day.
Yeah.
And it was just absolutely stunning. And the views,
Yeah.
and all of us were taking photos at some
Right.
point. We're like, we're not coming back up here. We've done
Yeah.
this. We're not coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
It was kind of emotional. But
Yeah.
the next day when we got chilly, so do
Mm.
you want to do another one?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was the same. The first Snowdonia I ever did, initially I said I'd never do it again. Then after a few days, I think, do you know what? I think I might. And I went back the following year. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
I can do Snowdon up and down in 3.5 hours in the
right.
snow.
Yeah. Oh, the
But
marathon was slightly different. We didn't go to the peak, that peak
yeah,
that everyone goes to. We just stayed on the main roads. But either
well,
way, it was a long time to be on the go.
last time I did Snowdon, I did it in February 2019.
Oh,
We walked up the steep a bit, so
yeah,
halfway up it was not too bad. It was
yeah,
okay. Then also we got to the bit where you sort of come up the top,
yeah,
the ice and the snow came at us.
yeah.
We got to the top and literally we get ice on our coats. Then we went, okay, we'll be sensible. We'll go down the wider route because the other way was
Right.
narrow. There's a lot of people on it.
Yeah.
Both of us slipped because it was icy. Got down to the bottom, got some food, got some drink. Well,
Right.
like, okay, cool. Where's the car? The car was 7 miles away.
Oh no.
So we had this tab all around, which most of it was up this gradual, like I'm talking
Right.
like the gradual
Yeah.
pace. The lady went, there'd be a bus coming. We looked at the thing, I was like, there's no bus. There's no bus today. It's a Sunday. There's only the odd bus. And even the whole walk we had, one
Right.
bus passed us going the other way.
No.
So
Oh.
we tabbed the 7 miles. So it took us longer to
Mm.
walk around the bottom of Snowdon to get
Yeah.
back to the car than it did to walk up and down Snowdon in the snow.
Yeah, me. Because when I've stayed up there, a mate of mine does mountain rescue up there. So the amount of stories he's had of people either getting stranded up there or on one of the other hills nearby. Oh, literally, you could talk to him for, several days and he'll tell you a different story every time. It's that many
Yeah.
things. So
And there's something, and
yeah,
of course, we had decided like a week before that we were going to do it, booked a
yeah,
B&B for the night before,
yeah,
did it, and then
yeah,
I was driving home. So while
yeah,
I was driving, I went, okay, we had like a team biscuit sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But then I said, we're stopping for food. My friend
yeah,
was like, I'm not hungry. And I was like, what we've done, you
yeah,
have to eat.
yeah.
Right. I'm taking you home. We're not, and we didn't get home until like at 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night.
Right, yeah.
Um, but it was just like when we got to the car, it was I'm so cold, I'm just stripping off. It was
That's it. Yeah,
it was emotional but fun. But
yeah,
as you notice, the same mentality,
mm,
jumping in,
yeah,
challenging myself. But
yeah.
also I'm gonna put the caveat here, guys. So I
Right,
do kind of really crazy stuff,
right.
but there's also a level. Like, for
Yeah,
example, I recognize there's certain things I wouldn't do. I
right.
also recognize the fact I train all the time. I do
Yeah,
train and work out every week. I
yeah,
stretch. I wouldn't have done that walking thing if I wasn't working out on my legs twice a week. I wasn't doing yoga. I wasn't doing
yeah.
um I might not do it if I was doing a yin yoga course again, because I
Mm,
did so much yin, my tendons has been stretched,
right.
hence why they cramped on the hike. But
Yeah.
if you're gonna do something, train. Like,
Yeah.
make sure you've got some level of conditioning before you do it.
Do you know what? That's the exact word I was going to say. At least your body is conditioned to, doing a lot of activity anyway. Otherwise, yeah, because you do hear stories of people who think they can just enter London Marathon and turn up, and then they have a very bad time because it's just, Yeah. Yeah.
Some of it is there is a level of mindset. Can you
Yeah.
push through when your body's tired? Because
Yeah.
your body will quit first.
Yeah.
Then it's also making sure you're safe. Like, for example, after I came off, I didn't pull anything. It was just a case of, if anyone's done yin yoga, it's a lot about connective tissues, the tendons, ligaments, allowing them to stretch and ease off.
Yeah.
So I done loads of that to do my 30-hour yin yoga course.
Right.
And then literally the following weekend, I went and did this. So
Right.
I just really should, it's kind of very bad, timing. But at the same time,
Mm.
it's a case of I'm used to sort of a level. So
Yeah.
like you said, people doing it without, it's like a case of, well, be willing to train up for it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go, if you're going to do a walking challenge, get out and walk.
Yeah. It's got to start somewhere, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
if you've got an idea of something, you've got to start first of all, not just talk about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's what people either think is like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing this. It's like, yeah, but there's a level of what my body can take. I knew that, like, for example, that walk this year would
Mm.
be tough.
Yeah.
I knew it would be. I knew it would be mentally and physically challenging. I had the goal of 12 hours. And to be honest, if you take out my breaks, I probably did walk 12 hours.
Yeah.
So I hit my goal. And I was like, I'm really proud of that. That's my first thing. And I hit my goal.
Yeah.
But if you haven't been keeping your body moving, you haven't been doing something, then take a 5K. This is, especially now, there's a lot of Christmas things. Like I said, the nice, you can get a nice pink ribbon, go for cancer research. Yes,
That's
great.
it. That's it. Are those the Race for Life? Is
Yes.
it? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I know a few have done that. And of course, Park Run's a popular one now as well, isn't it? That's every Saturday. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big thing.
The reason I promote like things like the Race for Life and stuff over the park runs
Yeah.
is because maybe one week you don't want to run.
Yeah.
It's a case of, okay, some of us are like runners. I mean, I could go and do a park run.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a park run. Doesn't mean I can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a case of you think about what you got to enjoy the most, because particularly if you're like, so guys, I am over 40. Just put that out there.
It's
So when you start hitting
over
your
30.
older years, but it's a case of we're looking at sustainability, what we can keep going, because a lot of time we do something and then we drop off. Like me fencing, I went to such a top level, then I dropped. What can I do sustainably? What can I do and keep going? Because you're not doing it for today, you're doing it for when you're 70, 80, 90. Like my nan's 99, nearly 100. She turns 100 in March.
Yeah.
And she's walking still. She gets herself dressed still.
Brilliant.
And a lot of it is because she's walking. She's still moving.
Yeah.
She danced for years. She swam like twice. She used to swim twice a week into like later 80s.
Right.
And then she was dancing twice a week until early 80s.
Yeah.
And then she played cards. When she moved into her home, she'd beat everyone at poker.
Yeah.
Like
that element, yeah.
But when we talk about the mind and the body and performance,
yeah,
you need something for both. So and when we talk about the mind, it's on two levels. So this is where I sort of promote mainly on the calming down, because often we think about the doing. What have I got to do? And the biggest or the strongest is to be.
Right.
So that's the meditation, the stillness, the calmness, or just sitting and looking at the trees move in the wind.
Yeah.
Having a coffee and just, I can smell my coffee.
Yeah.
Just being in that moment, being present, not with the distractions of the world.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing we find often is that one. We think about something to do, like we'll do a meditation, we'll go, tick, done it. Yeah. But I don't feel any different.
Yeah.
Because we're doing, not allowing ourselves to be.
Do you know what? It's something you just said that is so true. You said about just looking at, sort of trees or coffee sort of thing. It's almost like nowadays there's so many more distractions for people. And that in turn, I mean, look at how everyone, is just living on their phones these days. So much more info you're processing, but equally how much we see people more stressed out than ever.
Yeah.
Because they're being distracted. Like you said, it's just about zoning out from that.
And the thing is, if you look back and you think about, okay, when cavemen were around, were they stressed or did they just get on with it? Right?
Yeah,
they didn't have counselors, they didn't have therapists.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then of course what we do is we manage things. So we look at our stress and what's causing our stress. We look at what we're doing to manage our stress. But what we do is we get into the cycle. We go, I feel stressed, I do this, I feel better, I do this, I do this. And it just never sort of stops.
Yeah.
It's actually when we allow ourselves to either let go or change our patterns that we can actually shift. And that's the hardest part, is actually going, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's keeping me on this like hamster wheel.
Yeah.
I'm keeping running. I'm going, I'm good, but I'm not really, oh, I'm moving forwards at like this pace. I'm
Yeah.
going, rather than taking your big leaps.
Got it. Yeah.
And of course, we need to learn to be.
Yeah. Which I think nowadays that's more important than ever, because like we were saying, we're seeing more. Well, I mean, I'm seeing it around people I know, is that they just seem to be more stressed out because there's so many different things coming at them. And like you said, you sometimes lose focus of what you need to do on the day to day.
Yeah. And that's it. We always think, I think, oh, I need to pay my credit card. I need to do this.
Yeah.
I need to do this. Or, I need to call someone.
Yeah.
I've got people, I've read the message and forgot to say, I'm not going to lie about it.
Yeah.
All right. But I also put myself in a place now where I go, you know what, I'm okay. That's really important.
Yeah.
They're going to come back to me.
Yeah.
If it's a, hey, how you doing? And I've missed something that's not that, important.
Yeah.
Then it's okay, because if they're really struggling or whichever, then people know, like people that know me, I can reach out. And in case of I try not to ignore people.
Yeah.
But sometimes I even forget to text my mum back, and she's like, "Oh right, I thought you were busy, right? Whatever." She's just so used to it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not attached to my phone.
Yeah.
My phones are always on silent. I don't even know what the ringtone is. Don't ask me.
Oh, really? Okay. I won't call it a second. Don't worry.
We could call it. It just might flash. That was it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we get so distracted about thinking. I mean, like for example, I've got I'm charging some batteries up, right? And
Okay, right.
the lights. We sit and watch the lights, and we're like, "What's that? What's this? What's this?" I always stick things face down.
Right.
I don't see them.
Right. Get you. Yeah.
So we end up being distracted or think about, oh, I've got to be on LinkedIn, I've got to be on Instagram, I've got to be on Twitter, I've got to be on this, I've got to be do this.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What are you doing it for?
Do you know what? You've reminded me. There was some. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about three key things that in life that are just almost like that will distract us the most. And if you can get on top of those, it would. I wish I could remember who it was that did the video, but you probably know where I'm coming from on this anyway. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
Like we have certain things in life that put a stress up, like divorce, changing jobs, moving house. These things give us the biggest level of stress.
Yeah.
But then we've also got things that will cause us the biggest distraction.
Yeah.
So, and this is why, if you notice a game on your phone, notice how addictive they are. So you go, oh, I've got half an hour free lives. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, you're still sat playing on a game on your phone.
Yeah.
And you're probably sat in this funny position and then going, oh, why am I so stiff?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what you're saying? I went through that with, I used to have the old Sega, game system, the Master System on the Mega Drive. But I hit that point with it where I started losing sleep over this one particular game. And at that point, I just thought, oh, I can't be like that. And I played the odd arcade game here and there. But do you know what? I haven't got a single game on this phone. Excluding Pokemon Go from a few years ago. I did that for a few months. Then
there was a thing, right? There's a new Netflix series,
right,
or show or film. I don't know what it is because I don't have Netflix. So guys, I don't have a TV license.
Okay,
I occasionally stream something on Disney, but I don't.
Yeah.
But there's something, and I read this in the news about the end of it. There was obviously something going on.
Right.
And also they went, let's put this on. So they put on some sort of movie, whatever it was.
Right.
And the comments I've seen from this was like, this is so powerful because there's so much going on in the world, but we hide ourselves in entertainment.
Right.
We make ourselves feel better by living through, say, a movie, a story, something that distracts us and makes us think of something else.
Yeah.
Which is why movies, TV and stuff becomes addictive. We become, oh, I've got to watch Coronation Street. Is it still at 7?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't watched it in so many years. Like the 90s, I last watched it.
My nan used to watch Neighbours at 5:30, so I remember that one.
I remember the whole Neighbours thing. Yeah.
But whatever it is, we go, I have to do this because you become engrossed in living through their lives. It's like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing this. Yeah. And actually, sometimes we go, okay, well, which is fine to a point. To a point, in moderation, we go, okay. But then how many times we go, I need to watch, I used to do it.
Go on.
Whatever, at 5:30, I don't even remember what it was. 6 o'clock was Hollyoaks or Home and Away.
Oh yeah. Oh, Hollyoaks. That was. Oh no. Hollyoaks was that 6 or 6:30? Yeah, it was all right. I
Yeah.
know.
So it
Yeah.
was Home and Away, then Hollyoaks, and there was something,
Yeah.
and it was just like seriously. So I've literally then blocked out like so many hours of my time
Hmm.
because it's one thing, then the next thing, then the
Yeah.
next thing, and it's the case of okay. So I was then going, okay, what have I done?
Hmm.
And you just kind of go, right, okay, actually, if I go back, if I
Yeah.
flew back in time, we had a time
Yeah.
capsule, and I
Yeah.
looked at my time for then, I would go, okay, how much of my time would be maximized?
Yeah.
So, guys, here's another tip for you all if you are listening and you're
Yeah.
with us at this point. But if you're feeling you're stressed, overwhelmed, and you don't know what to do, take a time to write down your diary in terms of like 6, 7, 8, 9, all the day. Block out what you're doing. So if you're going to work 9 till 5, your work is 9 to 5, block out work. If you're commuting, you leave at 8 o'clock, block out the hour for commuting. Okay. Do the blocking of time to see where you spend your time. And
Right.
then you will see, you'll be like, oh, I get up at 6, but I don't leave till 8. What do I do for 2 hours?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is when I first did this, I kind of went, okay, I've actually got a lot of time. And to be honest, I do get up and I do like whichever and what, but I'm not using that block of time.
Yeah.
So I kind of went, okay, so my personal development, I do half an hour every morning. I'll do it 7:30 every day.
Hmm.
Or 7:30. I just booked it in as a commitment in my diary.
Yeah.
So firstly, I held myself accountable because I made it that booking.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Um, and then I got into the habit. So now I get up. I normally get up around 6. First thing I do, I stick on an audio, which is positive affirmations for
Yeah.
20 minutes
Yeah.
meditation. So I'm
Okay.
still like in la la land a little bit for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I then meditate for 10 minutes. So I do a
Right.
10-minute meditation.
Okay.
I then get out. That's when I get out of bed. So we're looking about 6:30, 20 to 7.
Right.
Bear in mind, my alarm went off like good half an hour before.
Yeah.
But it's the going to the toilet, clean the teeth, put the kettle on, right?
Yeah.
Then of course, when I've got my tea and I'm sat on the sofa, I check the time.
Hmm.
9 out of 10, I'm still probably in my dressing gown because I'm like, I haven't decided my day yet. Because it's not till then do I sort of go, no, what's my day? So I will spend at least 45 to 60 minutes in the morning.
Hmm.
It's focused on what do I need? What's good
Right.
for me? What gives me energy? What makes me feel vibed?
Yeah.
The fact is, what, 6 o'clock on a Friday night and I'm still chatting like God knows what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's nearly dinner time, I won't lie.
Yeah. No. No. That's the same here as well. That's fine. Yeah.
But we get up. What gives you that energy? There was a point where I used to finish work at 2:15, get home and have to have a nap for half an hour all the time because I felt tired.
Yeah.
I was drained. I was just, and that was the times. Guess what? What was I doing? Watching a lot more TV.
Right. Interesting.
Wasn't working out that as often. Never meditated. I thought it was hippie shit.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Never journaled.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I found out why I can get on with journaling. That's because I'm dyslexic. So there
Oh.
was things I was doing in my 20s and stuff like not journaling and stuff like this
Right.
because I'm dyslexic on the ADHD line. I found it hard to focus and
Right.
concentrate and do that stuff.
But does that mean you're seeing like letters slightly like jumbled up or something?
Blur.
Oh, just a blur. Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I can read and I'm
Right.
very quick, so I'm very good. And then also I'll get part way down a page and it just starts merging.
Oh, okay.
Certain fonts, certain colors I can't see.
Right.
But again, with dyslexia, it's very different for everyone. So like I'm on a visual line,
Yeah.
which means that for me, like for example, a blue background
Yeah.
is with white writing
Yeah.
helps the white writing stand out.
Oh, okay. Right.
Or even like a light blue with black writing, the
Yeah.
black writing will stand out over a white or any other color.
Okay.
But if it's black on red or red on black,
Yeah.
I cannot see. I cannot read it blurs. It's
I think I
under.
that a bit. Well, was it
Yeah, so if it's red,
Yeah.
and obviously with that the ADHD sort of attention sort of thing. So a case of I don't like reading.
Yeah. I'm not instinctively a reader myself, if I'm honest. I think I've read one book in my life.
I read one this year because I sat down and made myself.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I gave myself the target,
Yeah.
maximum of 30 minutes a week or
Yeah.
a section of this book.
Right.
In 3 months, I read a book.
Yeah. Do you know
That's
what?
more than I've done for like 20 years.
That's impressive. Yeah, because the last book the only book I've read properly cover to cover was Matthew Pinsent's book from about 2003, 2004. It was like a lifetime in race. It's his time in the Olympics. But I've got another book arriving shortly because I was at a gig last week and it was like one of those book tour sort of ones. The
Yeah.
lead singer of Rush. Have you heard of that Canadian group? Don't know if you have. Not many people have. Anyway, what it is, the book was included in the price, but because I booked the ticket at the last minute,
Mm.
they're sending the book separately, so that'll be
Yeah.
in the post shortly. So
Oh,
it's like this guy's life story. So I'll probably
well,
do that.
set aside. This is how we start building new things. So if, like,
Yeah,
for example, you're like me, you don't want to read. I
yeah,
went on to Audible for a while, but I was like, actually, the thing I don't want to do
mm,
is end up being 80 and
mm,
not being able to do anything, or being, not able to read with my goddaughter, or,
yeah,
these sorts of things. And
yeah,
in fact, when it got really bad,
mm,
I actually had a panic attack in the post office trying to send a letter because of how the writing was, and I got the wrong thing, and the woman got fussy at me, and
yeah,
you just have that really bad moment.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, okay, so actually, for me, it's kind of really good to keep training my brain.
yeah,
But then the really funny thing is, if you give me a page of text
mm,
and there's a spelling mistake in it, likelihood is I can find it very quickly.
right,
I can skim read really quick,
yeah,
so I can pick up. And if something's odd, I
yeah.
will go, "That's wrong. That doesn't look right."
You're sort of like skimming through, and this. Wait a minute, that was off, and then you go,
Sometimes I can just see it stand out from the
oh,
page.
really? Okay, all right,
Yeah. But then I'm very good at pattern recognition. So when I was 11, I did really well in my 11 plus. It's all
right,
patterns and pattern recognition.
okay. Because I
And
see
I
some
do
of those
from memory.
you get those quiz pops that pop up occasionally, and like it looks like a whole load of numbers or letters are the same. You got to pick out the one that's how quickly can you spot the one that's slightly off, and
Yeah.
is
See,
it that
again, I can do that. It depends on what it's on.
right? Okay,
So if it's on like a screen, like a phone screen, normally
yeah,
I can't because of the colors and stuff. It's actually easier when I turn my blue light off.
right.
So at night, when my blue light automatically goes off, it's switched off like 9:30, I think, at
Oh,
night.
I got it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes
So
it
if I
makes
was looking at like half 9, quarter to 10, then yeah.
right. Yeah, got you.
Um, but yeah, it's one of those things. But again, this is learning about yourself.
Yeah,
So again, like the biggest message I can give to
mm,
people is, set yourself a goal, but learn about yourself. Don't be afraid to say, I'm not really good at that.
yeah,
It's not a okay, it's not weak. It kind of is a weakness, but your weakness is someone else is strong in, or
yeah,
like your strength someone else needs.
yeah,
And we talk about, I mean, I was listening to a podcast today, but of course we talk about self-care. Yeah, you need to look after yourself. You need to fill your own cup and look after your own energies.
yeah,
But we don't do that by shutting out others.
yeah,
Part of our happiness, our genuine happiness, is built by social connection. All right. And that's not just, hey, how you doing? That could be a smile with a stranger. Hey, how are you? Or thank you so much for holding the door, and actually getting eye contact.
yeah,
These things that we do day in, day out. And that's why distractions and phones and stuff,
yeah.
social media, it feels like we're connected, but we're not. We, you know,
Do you know what I've seen? Especially when I was last in London, you're on the tube, you look
yeah.
around, everyone's just down on their phone. No one's looking at each other at all, are they?
I've had a few chats on the tube. I've scared the hell out of people. It's great.
Well, for me, it was during the Olympics was fun because that's when people were actually chatting a little bit more because you had a lot of others sort of coming in. But
Yeah. Well, you smile at some people now, you go, and they
yeah,
go,
who's this freak?
and I'm like, okay. But I don't. I tend, if I go on public transport, I use the bus or tram. I much prefer being able to see daylight.
Right, they're more down to earth. I did. Do you know what? Once in California, I think it was California. I used the buses out there. That was fun because actually I found the locals really chatty on that one. So I was striking up conversations with all sorts. Yeah, it was
The
great.
US, they're always chatty. I love them over
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I
and
love
then
the US. So if you're listening for the US, you can connect with me. We'll have a chat. It's
yeah.
great.
Especially it's the accent, isn't it? As soon as I hear the British accent, oh, you're from England or you're from the UK.
Hey, it goes the other way as well.
No,
I love the
I know we
US.
feel the same if we hear an American over here. Yeah, yeah, very much so. Yeah.
But there you go.
Anyway, Liz, can I just say this has been an absolute blast. It really has. And isn't it funny? Look at the time. There was us thinking, oh, we'll just chat for 20, 30 minutes. And I don't know how long we'll be going for, probably about an hour. So,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I won't lie, guys. If you can see me starting to wane, it's because I've been on the computer since 8 a.m. this morning. It's now
yeah,
6 o'clock in the evening. So I'm kind of starting to wane with screen
What
work.
I feel the same way. I've been doing, you know what my job is, with the Windows. I've been doing a manual job all day, and now I've sort of come to this. So I'm at that sort of flagging stage. And let's face it, we're both hungry now as well. So
I'm not actually okay on the hunger. It's just I'm just kind of done with the screen. I'm just kind of getting a bit
yeah,
like
I guess this is the advantage of me mostly having a manual job is that I'm not looking at a screen all the time. It can't, because I would struggle if I was at a computer all the time. It would take it out of me.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure I'll be
Just
back on
tried
my
it. It helped.
PC later because I've got a little bit of work to sort out. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, Liz, look, absolute pleasure. Thanks ever so much for this. And I can't believe it's so fascinating to hear all of this for the first time, especially with all the fencing and stuff. I mean, this was
You're welcome.
all the years I've known you, never knew about this. So absolutely brilliant. So
Oh.
loved it. Yeah.